Welcome, everybody. It's an honor to be here today, as it is every year. And the nice thing is that just about everybody in this room I know personally, and I get to have a lot of interaction with throughout the year. So this is kind of like a conversation in our living room that we just get to talk about something that is very special to each and every one of us, and that's Laverne. Before I start, there's a couple things that I would like to do. One is, in all the introductions, and I think everybody that's here that got introduced is critically important, but the one that's most important to me is my wife, Gaynell. So thank you. On Monday night at the Laverne City Council, we adopted a 3-year plan for combating and increasing costs that are associated to retirement that so many of the cities in the state are facing and other agencies. And I think people follow Facebook a lot. There's just some information that we feel that was not accurate that went out, and so in order to clarify some of that, I've just got a couple of things that I would like to mention. This is regarding the fire department. We have 34 sworn personnel in our fire department, and that has not changed. And we have no plans of changing it in the near future. What did change is one paramedic engineer position has been changed to paramedic firefighter in each shift at Station 3. And that's what did change. So Laverne started many, many years ago when a guy named Isaac Lord decided to try and make a lot of money and built a $150,000 hotel and mapped out a city that he called Lordsburg after himself. And that went bust. So the Church of the Brethren came in and bought that building for $15,000, 10 cents on the dollar, about 3 years later, and made Laverne what became Laverne College and now is the University of Laverne. This had a small downtown, had an area of housing, had schools, and the major contributor to the financial well-being of this city was citrus. So if you go up D Street and you get to 8th, that's right at the wash or the end of Roynan, that was the end of the city, because from there, as far as you could see north, it was all citrus. Going up White Avenue, you get to 6th Street on the right-hand side. It was all citrus growing up. So all of a sudden in the mid-50s and 60s, we started seeing some change. And it's like, well, what do we do now? And what the city of Laverne did and initiated and voted upon became a document in the mid-60s called the General Plan. The General Plan is a reflection of the community's needs, values, and the visions for the future. It is a document that by state law is required to be updated approximately every 20 years, and we are right at that 20-year period. So we have identified the need, and we have voted on the money that pays for the general plan. There has been phase-in meetings with stakeholders, people like yourselves, organizations, Fairplex, school board, businesses, downtown businesses along Foothill Boulevard. And so now we are beginning a major redo on our general plan. It's not too late to be involved. There is a website that's set up for it. It's called laverne.generalplan.org if you're interested in going on it. I think a lot of you have already been contacted for community outreach groups. So our general plan is going to take about 2 to 3 years, and when that's done, we will have a new visioning and so forth as we move forward. You wonder how that little town south of Foothill Boulevard grew so much, and that general plan in 1965 identified the commercial corridor along Foothill Boulevard. And that's where we have so much commercial today, and we're fortunate to have it. On the financial aspect of the city, we are in the middle of a $56 million budget, total budget. We have increased expenses from last year of $1.3 million, of which $600,000 is ongoing employee retirement obligations. $9.3 million in capital improvement investments, and that's in streets and water and sewer and things. A lot of times you don't see it, but when you get water, when you turn the tap and you flush the toilet and it goes away, those are all things that are very important to the residents of Laverne. We have maintained an excess of 15% for our reserve policy, and that started in the early 80s, and we continue to do that today. We have new revenue coming in from both Measure A and Measure M, which was voted on by the county residents in 2016, in November of 2016, and we are starting to receive that money for parks and transportation, about $650,000 a year. So that's a tax that you taxed yourselves. Not only is it going to get the gold line coming through our community, but we're going to get yearly parks and transportation dollars to improve our city as we go forward. In 2017, we saw a completion of the most amazing building that's ever been built in Laverne. That's Gilead. It's a biopharmaceutical manufacturing company that's down Wheeler, south of Arrow Highway, just about to Puddingstone. It's actually on the corner of Puddingstone and Wheeler. And that building, 320,000 square feet, will house 500 employees, probably later this year when they get all of the regulatory, FDA and so forth, and they give them the okay, because this will be a manufacturing plant. In 5 to 7 years, they will do phase 2. And phase 2 will go from 320,000 square feet to about 400,000 square feet. It'll go from 500 employees to 1,000 employees. And a lot of those employees will be spending money in Laverne. They live in Laverne already, and so we're very excited about that continuing. On December 2nd, Gold Line did the groundbreaking for the next phase, which starts in Glendora and goes out to Montclair. So 5 stops will be included in that. The first 3 years, when the groundbreaking, they have issued contracts, and then a lot of that will start moving utilities and things like that. So we're not going to see much construction per se. After that 3-year period is over, they're going to award contracts, and they're going to start seeing more and more of building train tracks and things like that. So 2025, 2026 is the expected opening. And last year, we saw the beginning of a 5-story University of Laverne dining hall and residency hall. It is it's the first 5-story building that was built in Laverne, and that is supposed to be completed sometime this summer. And I just want to take those 3 items that I just talked about, the completion of Gilead, or the fact that there's even a Gilead in Laverne, the groundbreaking for the Gold Line, which will come through, and we believe that from Union Station to Montclair, that the city of Laverne will have the finest station there is, because we have a combined partnership between the University of Laverne, Fairplex, and the city of Laverne. And so when we look at a project, we are looking at a much larger scale project, and it's going to bring a lot more to our community that everybody can enjoy. Then we opened a number of restaurants and other types of things. Sprouts was opened, Mathnesium, Grandma Poochie's homemade ice cream, Who doesn't love that? Cactus Coffee, Nothing Bundt Cakes, Pokey Pokey, and Tamsui Restaurant River, which is up in the development where the luxury apartments are. I have put on each table a piece of paper that has 91 restaurants that are in Laverne. I would encourage you to go down this list. I'm sure there's restaurants that you know, but there may not be restaurants you don't know. And my wife and I are going to some restaurants we've never gone to before, and we're very happy. So enjoy. The one coming soon, or this has been coming soon for a long time, is the address of 1401 Foothill Boulevard. That's the corner of Foothill and Wheeler, the former Baker Square site. And unfortunately, we do not have anything to report other than hope. There is somebody that is looking at it right now. If they find through their due diligence that they can make something work and be successful, they will buy the property. This will be the third owner since it's been vacant, and build something there, and we're hoping for that to take place as soon as possible. The beginning site of what is called the transit-oriented development, which is development around a Gold Line or rapid transit station, is going to kick off this year. And there are 32 apartments, Craftsman style, down on 1st and G Street, and all underground parking. And that is the first underground parking we'll see in Laverne. But one of the things we want to see is people walking and riding bikes and not driving cars. The Pomona Valley Hospital new health center behind Panera Bread, the old Marshalls, if you remember that, is soon to open. It's been a long process. That building's been vacant for a long time, but I would encourage you to stop by and see it. It will have 5 new primary care doctors, permanent doctors there. There'll be an urgent care that'll be open 365 days a year. The only time it's not open is at night, and it's typically from 8 at night until 8 in the morning. Also, there'll be an imaging and radiology area. They put over $4 million worth of equipment into that facility, and the hospital also spent close to $10 million just on the facility getting it ready without equipment. The last thing is the physical therapy is going to be there. All the windows that you see, when you're in there doing your physical therapy, you get to check out the parking lot and see who's coming and going. And there's also a new therapy pool. So that's one of the very first that they've had. It's not as good as Hillcrest pool, believe me, but it's a great facility. And there's nothing better than after you go to your physical therapy to go to Grandma Poochie's homemade ice cream across the street and make sure that you're doing everything in the right order. So this Saturday, they're having an open house between 10 and 2. You can go up there, you can park, you can go in and see the whole facility. Next Monday, the facility opens to the public. So it will be there for everybody to use. On the corner of D and Bonita is D Street Square. This is the old University of Laverne bookstore. And by the end of this year, there'll be an attorney's office in there, which, by the way, is already there because I happen to know her. There'll be a craft beer tasting room and patio, and then the relocation of Chase's with their signature outdoor grill and patio seating. And I know Chris is here. I talked to him earlier, and I'd love to have it open yesterday, but we still have wait. So no set time to open at this time. Also in 2018, we have the completion of 41 new homes, both in the Emerald Collection, which is on Emerald and Baseline, and Creekside, which is on St. Emus Canyon Road, up by the golf course. Also, something that has been worked on for a long time is the Open Space Master Plan. And in 2006, the city acquired through the Laverne Conservancy 208 acres. Combine that with the 150 acres that was already owned for almost 360 acres that's being called Laverne Wilderness Area. Staff right now is working on the plan. The plan is pretty much done. The first draft of the EIR is in, and they expect the final draft or the final EIR in before the end of the month. Once the plan and the EIR are all in, it's going to be open to the public, so you can go in there and look at both documents. Sometime in the spring, those documents will be moving forward to the Planning Commission and the City Council for approval. Demolition of a dormitory at University of Laverne, Stuhan. I don't know if Roger is too happy about Hannawald coming down, but I know there's been a tremendous amount of happy people that have stayed there. My wife, when she went to Laverne College, before it became the University of Laverne, stayed in Stuhan, and there's lots and lots of positive memories. That is coming down. A parking lot is going to go up there, at least temporarily. Then on the other side of that block is Brandt Hall, and that is going to go from a dormitory to classrooms and offices, and they're going to be an addition to that, and that addition plus is going to be called the Ludwig Multicultural Center, and the chapel that's in there is going to be removed and some of the other stuff built in there, so it's going to be a really neat facility. The University of Laverne has to wait until the dormitory that's being 5-story building is built in order to tear down Stuhan, because those are dormitories, and the changeover of Brandt Hall, those students will all go into the new facility. We also have a continuation of restaurants. Blaze Pizza, Broken Yoke, New China Mongolian Barbecue, Flame Broiler, which I believe has just opened, Firehouse Subs, and Tenju Tea House downtown. So we're closing in on 100 restaurants in Laverne. There's not a whole lot of vacancies around, and if anybody vacates, there's a lot of people that are looking for that space. Next is in our safety. We have added a new RSVP vehicle to this group. This is an amazing group of retired senior volunteer patrols. There's 35 currently. It's capped at 36. And with their help, there's 5 automatic external defibrillators. They're also being deployed in the field. In February's issue of the Laverne Community News, I wrote an article on the RSVP. I would encourage you to read it. It's an amazing amount of things that they do. Over 11,000 hours in 2017. If you divide that up, it's over 6 full-time employees in our police department, which makes all of us safer and better. RSVP launched a new program called Yana, You Are Not Alone. This is, I'm going to talk just a little bit about this a little bit later because I think it's important. This is homebound seniors that cannot get out of their homes. Some are in mobile homes, some of them are in their own personal homes, but they cannot get out. And so we are identifying those individuals, and RSVP is going and doing weekly visits to find how they're doing, do they need anything, just to give them some personal back and forth relationships. David Margaret Home on 3rd is really doing some neat things. They've got some transitional housing now. They've got a store that just opened. They've got a cafe that's open to the public, and all of these are really neat things. One of the, if you hear some stories of our Haynes, at what I used to call Leroy Boyce Home, it's Haynes now, and David Margaret, there's some really sad stories there. And we have police officers that are now going to David Margaret to work with the girls on helping them be better equipped to deal with life. And it's just a wonderful outreach, in my opinion. There's a new Ring doorbell program. Does anybody on their front porch have a new Ring doorbell? Good, because they are invaluable. There's a commercial Ring doorbell program that we have instituted at 4 different commercial businesses that are more susceptible to break-in. And this is a motion detector, and it connects with the police department right away. So we have a much better chance of identifying where those problems are and getting out there as quick as we can. Also, on each one of our intersections coming in and leaving town, we have license plate readers. You don't have to smile when you go, because they're not interested in your picture, they're interested in your license. It goes into a federal database, and it comes back instantly if that is a stolen vehicle or if there's a warrant out for the arrest of somebody in that vehicle. Well, we have those up, and they've worked well for us. Now, the HOAs, the homeowner association, the gated communities within our community are set to also install license plate readers. So if there's anybody that's following a car, trying to get into a gated community, that our police will be notified. Our fire department is continuing a Ready, Set, Go program, which is a wildfire preparedness program. And I think all of us from all over the state of California have seen how damaging wildfires can be. So that is a continuation of making sure that Laverne is as safe as we can get it. Also, the elementary fire safety program. Everybody knows what a bounce house looks like for kids' birthday parties and so forth. Well, there's one that's also that looks like a house, but you don't go in and bounce at it. The firefighters take it to our elementary schools, and they demonstrate fire safety, how to go out of a building, which is this bounce house with smoke in it. There's a way that you can create smoke inside. How do you get out of this? Where do you go? What's the plan? And one of the nice things that we are seeing is these first graders are going home and asking mom and dad, what is our plan, and where do we, and where's the smoke detectors, and where do they work? This is a program that will eventually go out to all first, third, and fifth graders in Laverne. So that's a great program for our kids and for their families. CERT, which stands for Community Emergency Response Team, has a training that we now have over 80 CERT members. In fact, one of the trainers right now is in South Korea, and he is doing ski patrol for the Olympics. So, and I think his wife is here. Rose, are you here? There she is. There's Rose here. Thank you, and tell him thank you next time you communicate with him. The CERT members have done 2 canvassing programs. They go out door to door. They set their pop-up up, and they go door to door and install smoke detectors. And so far, they've canvassed 500 homes. If they knock on a door and there's no smoke detector, they will install it on the spot. And it's a 10-year smoke detector, so those are good things. And I think we've introduced our new police captain, but I just want to do it again. We're certainly welcome to have you on board, Colleen. And she's a Laverne resident. She trained 22 years in Arcadia to come to Laverne. That's a long training, I'll tell you, but we are thrilled to have her and on our police force. We have done a number of projects throughout Laverne, about 9.3 miles of pavement, 24 streets. Bonita was redone, White to Wheeler. Esperanza was at baseline going up to Jasmine Court. Winter Haven, which is around the northern part of the cemetery on B Street. The area around Sierra Laverne Golf Course was done. The drought-tolerant on all the medians on Foothill Boulevard have been installed. That's Caltrans, that's owned by the state of California. So it's harder for us to get their participation, but we got it. So it's all in. And on Bowdoin at Bradford, there's 4 new homes that were built, and there's some existing homes were built in the 50s, probably the oldest 4 homes in a row north of Foothill Boulevard in Laverne, and they never had curbs or sidewalks. And they asked the city if they could be like everybody else, and they are thrilled to death. We have in 2018 projects coming up that East Street rehab, which is from Roynan Elementary School down to Bonita. The Wheeler Avenue rehab, Metropolitan Water has been doing a major construction project off Wheeler, and that's they use Wheeler to get their big trucks in and so forth, and they've beat it up pretty bad. So 2018, we're going to rehab it all the way from Arrow Highway to Foothill Boulevard. The Pudding Stone Bridge, there's a bridge if you're going back and forth between San Dimas and Laverne, and that bridge is going to be widened in 2018. On White Avenue, when you make that S-turn bend and you slow down for Target, or you're trying to make a left-hand turn and go behind the high school, it's dangerous. We're going to put a traffic signal in there this year. So it'll be a lot better for students and others that come out from behind the school and also trying to come out of different places on around, because you got 2 shopping centers, you got Osh, you have Target, you have then behind the high school, which is always busy before school at noon, and then after school and any event they'll have. So we're looking forward to getting that signal in. We have a street light acquisition plan with Edison. We have 2 kinds of poles in this city, one that holds just street lights, and the other that takes care of running electricity and doing all that stuff. Well, there's about 1,900 non-Edison street poles for just lighting in the city of Laverne. And we're going through an acquisition to buy those. As soon as we buy those and we have approval from the Public Utilities Commission, we will convert those to LED lighting. And that is all supposed to take place before the end of this year. Once that is all done, we will save approximately $160,000 per year just on those street lights. We have medians that are going to be installed in 3 areas on Fruit Avenue from Bowdoin south and connect with the current median that is there just north of Foothill. Also on Foothill Boulevard over by Mr. D's, we're going to be a median installed there. And then on Wheeler Avenue from the 210 freeway down to Tabor, and Tabor and Duval are the homes right there as you come south on Wheeler. They're on the west side. So just past those homes, that's where that median will go. A number of years ago, we started adding picnic structures, metal picnic structures that we feel are really nice and people really enjoy. We are going to be adding those to 2 of our parks this year, Live Oak and Oak Mesa. On outreach, our police department has began a lot of outreach, coffee or pizza with a cop, depending on where they go. They've gone to McDonald's, they've gone to a Starbucks, and they're going to different ones, different parts of the community. If you hear of one, please stop by and introduce yourself to the police officers. We have a lot of wonderful people in our community that are police officers. Also, there's a new program, Cops and Kids. This is at Roynan Elementary School. The counselors at Roynan felt that they needed some interaction with some of their kids, especially the ones that are coming down from Haynes Family Services. And so what this program was started by our school resource officer, which I think is a wonderful program. And I sit on the Youth and Family Action Committees. This is a committee designed to create programs to help kids at risk. And so this program was designed and is run by Frankie Cambero. And they have the explorers that they take from the police department, and they work with about 20 kids once a month on how to interact with police officers and how they can help them be better in life. This is a program that is going to go to each one of our elementary schools by Frankie Cambero. So we're very excited about having that opportunity to help our kids at risk. There's something new, and I think some of you have heard me talk about AB 109, Prop 47, and Prop 57. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what those are first, and then I'm going to tell you what we can do about it. In 2011, our legislature passed AB 109. And what that did was it allowed an early release for 45,000 criminals out into our society. In 2014, Prop 47 passed. And Prop 47 passed by 60% of the California voters. I have no idea why anybody would vote for this, but it is a travesty because this thing was called the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. If you didn't know anything about it, you would vote for Safe Neighborhood and Schools Act, but what this does is these changes felonies to misdemeanors, and these are the felonies that it changes to misdemeanors: petty theft, shoplifting, forgery, fraud, bad checks, receiving stolen property if it's under $950. And the police department has arrested criminals in this city that are in stores stealing stuff with a calculator. And they have tickets, and all they can do is give them a ticket. They just, it's a traffic ticket to appear in court. Prop 57, which is even worse, it's called the Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act, was approved by 65% of the California voters and was highly promoted by Governor Brown. These, among the crimes that are classified by the state as nonviolent, and that means these nonviolent, they can get out of prison, and it's estimated that 30 to 40,000 will be released because of this. And so if you committed these crimes, you can be released. Rape by intoxication, rape of an unconscious person, human trafficking involving sex acts with minors, drive-by shooting, assault with a deadly weapon, and hate crimes causing physical injury. Those are nonviolent crimes according to Proposition 57. So there is a huge act of taking back our community. And I would encourage you to go on the website. City of Laverne is involved in this, as all other cities around, and get involved, and so we can get the necessary signatures on ballots to get this back on the ballot so we can start protecting our cities better, because it's horrible. And our police department's hands are tied, as you can see. Last thing under outreach is our city manager is now putting out a monthly newsletter. I would encourage you to go on the city website. It's one of the biggest things that you can, it's almost too big to notice. But click on that, and each month our city manager puts out notes about the meetings, physical sustainability, new things that are going on in our community. So I would encourage you to follow up with this. Another way that we're trying to keep information, get information out to our community. In 2002, the 210 freeway came through Laverne. But before it came through Laverne, they did a tour to 210. And on the eastbound part, because you could go down on Fruit Avenue and park, and on the eastbound you walked, on the westbound you rode your bike. And it was an all-day event, and it was really cool. There is a new thing that's coming to Laverne. It's coming April 22nd, It's from 9 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and a lot of streets will be closed. It's in conjunction with Claremont, San Dimas, Pomona, and with the also San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, COG. Event will go about 7 miles. The streets will be blocked. You'll be able to ride a bike, walk, ride your skateboard. There'll be hubs in each city that are set up so that each city has a presence. So I would encourage you to mark April 22nd of 2018 on your calendar. And if you want any more information on it, Muir Davis loves riding a bike. So just follow him around that day and you'll have a great time. I talked to you about the development around the Gold Line Station, the TOD, which is Transit Oriented Development. We have a name for our area because TOD is a general term. The term for ours now, the identification, is the crossing. So it combines railroad, it combines going back and forth across, because there's going to be a lot of crossing back and forth with the Fairplex, University of Laverne, the City of Laverne. There's going to be a lot of interaction going back and forth. So we would encourage you to follow that. But it's called the crossing, and that's our name for future development along the Gold Line. We also have a dedicated website for that. So if you want to go over there, it's lavernecrossing.com, and that'll provide you more information, and there'll be constant updates as you move forward. The road ahead. We've had significant cost increases in our employee retirement. That's going to be very significant over the next 10 years. We are seeing yearly increases of approximately $600,000, and every year there'll be another $600,000 added until in about 2013 that yearly fee will grow to about $11 million, and that is just not a sustainable amount that we as a city can afford. So in order to mitigate the effects of these costs, the City Council and the department heads and the public on January 11th held a all-day at the University of Laverne to create strategies to combat this, because there's no one way that we're going to be able to deal with this. So all the cities are working with it, and what we have established is a multi-year, multi-prong approach that included refinancing the existing obligation at a lower rate under the same 30-year program. If we follow the state employees retirement, the public employees retirement system known as CalPERS, that was not sustainable for us. So what we've done is we are going to bond at a much lower interest rate for the same 30-year period, so we will be able to sustain the payment and keep Laverne at the best it can be. Our goal is to continue to maintain the highest level of employees and service to our residents as possible. That is a promise. Our mobile home park, we've had a couple of issues where there's some concern about that. The city is addressing that, and we've passed some ordinances that help our mobile home park owners to stay in the mobile home parks, and we're not sure what's going to happen. We think one is fine. We think another one has a little bit more of a problem, but we can't do anything about either one of them right now, but we're just monitoring it and going forward. Mobile home park residency in Laverne is very critical. We have an amazing amount of volunteerism that come out of our mobile home parks, and the lifestyle that they enjoy and the safety they enjoy is very important to the quality of Laverne life. And so we are going to do everything we can to maintain that quality of life for those residents. I try to live my life on two guiding principles. First, find a need and fill it. Second, do something for someone else and don't get caught. 2 individuals have done that in the last year. That's absolutely amazing. And I talked to you a little bit about Yana, which is You Are Not Alone. That is a program that Laverne did not have until Marv Weston heard about it, did all the research about it, and brought it to Laverne. And now we have senior citizens that are enjoying the relationship that are created. And I know Marv is here. Marv, where are you? Would you please stand up? Thank you, Marv. Another person is Denise Fisher. I don't know if anybody knows her. She likes to run below the radar. She has created a program that helps the residents at both David Margaret and the Haynes Center. And she has gotten her neighbors, and it has grown to where they provide gifts of no less than $125 for Christmas to every one of the residents at David Margaret and at Leroy Haynes. She's done this on her own with friends. The list is over somewhere between 75 and 100 kids that she is helping out just because she wants to. And those are examples that do something for somebody else, because this makes our city better. Each and every one of you in here do that every day to make Laverne the best it can be. And Laverne is like it is because of you. Find a need and fill it. Do something for somebody else. I appreciate every one of your efforts in that. One last thing, and that is, before I go, there's some information on Monday night city council meeting and some other things in the back. If you'd like to pick one up before you leave, that's fine. I know I've gone over. I have had a relapse and have difficulty talking. That's probably more noticeable now than other years. Appreciate you coming. Thank you for your time.